has called on the intervention of the President Julius Maada Bio to settle what they describe as utter injustice meted out by the court decision taken by Magistrate Santigi Bangura in favor of one Adam Bokari. Also in today's edition, the Ministry of Fisheries and Marine Resources has on Monday, 12 August 2019, received a team of Chinese marine researchers. These researchers are believed to bring vessels from China that will be conducting research in the territorial waters of Sierra Leone. Also, the exercise is aimed at quantifying and generate comprehensive statistic reports on the available fish species and fish stock that will help in making informed management decisions. I am your presenter, Hassan Kruma. Joining us in the studio is Elba Lamranaba, a member of the Strategic Communication Unit of the Ministry of Information and Communication. We shall be discussing about issues that have to do with national development and with focus to the current state of our economy. Good morning, Lamrana.
Thank you for having me. Good morning. It's a pleasure.
It's a pleasure having you in the studio. How has it been defending the economy of our state, which many people have referred to as being in a state of limbo, or probably being paralyzed?
Well, we shall get into it very soon.
Okay. Thanks for having you in the program today. This is the Star Good Morning Show here on Star Television Network on Channel 21. The Good Morning Show is proudly sponsored by Rokel Commercial Bank.
SimCorp allow old and young to make deposit and withdraw cash from their account at any time and anywhere. With Rokel Commercial Bank SimCorp, you can send and receive money at any place and any time. Rokel Commercial Bank don't make life better for we all.
Welcome back. You're still watching the Good Morning Show here on Star Television Network on Channel 21. We go for our first story this morning. The Vice President of the Republic of Sierra Leone, Mohamed Julle Jallow, has on Tuesday, 13th August 2019, officially launched the National Anti-Corruption Commission Strategy of 2019 to 2023 at the Mata Conference Hall in Freetown. Here's the report.
The Commissioner of the Anti-Corruption Commission, Francis Ben Kelfala, said at the launch that enforcement is at the heart of the new strategy, backed with preventions and public education. This will demonstrate to the public government's determination to fight corruption as well as to encourage citizens to always resist and report it. The crafting of the National Anti-Corruption Strategy is consistent with the government's medium-term National Development Plan, the United Nations Conventions Agency Corruption, and the Corruption Act 2008. The Commission implores all sectors and the general public to support the implementation of the new strategy with a view to reducing corruption and consolidated to the foundations of good governance in Sierra Leone.
The pillar upon which this country should be transformed. And he has shown enormous presidential will in that regard. He has given us the support to achieve our mandate. And when I say the president, that includes the vice presidency, it includes the team he's working with. The ministers, heads of parastatals, people who are working in departments have all recognized the vision of the president, which we have been put in charge to lead. We knew that coming in at that time, there was a need for there to be a strategy that captures this vision, this transformative vision. And that vision was supposed to be couched into the new strategy that will come in force because the one that was inherited was about to end. In that regard, we also agreed, looking at the previous strategies, that they were done by consultants. Consultants who were more commercial, were more engaged in finishing the task and being paid.
The Vice President of the Republic of Sierra Leone, His Excellency Dr. Mohamed Julle Jallow, on Tuesday, the 13th August 2019, officially launched the National Anti-Corruption Strategy 2019 to 2023 at a well-attended ceremony held at the Miata Conference Center U Building in Freetown. In his keynote address, the Vice President Julle Jallow disclosed that there is no gainsaying that his government, through the Anti-Corruption Commission, has achieved its recovery of looked-at public funds in 16th month to the tune of 16,631,824,510 loans.
The strategy will guide government fight against corruption in the next couple of years, and while I'll also use the occasion to call on all of us, all MDAs, including private sector actors, to support this government determination to wage a war on corruption. Let me state here categorically that this is a fight, like successive speakers before me have clearly articulated, we must win. It doesn't matter the stakes that are involved, we will fight corruption in the interest of this country until we are reasonably convinced that it no longer poses a threat to the existence of the very state. To fight corruption in this country and to lay the basis, the institutional basis and framework that are clearly outlined in this framework, that I want you together with me as a country to launch the 4th National Anti-Corruption Strategy, as well as the Implementation Action Plan. I thank you very much.
He further noted that the conviction rate has also increased since they took over the governance of the state. He said that the National Anti-Corruption Strategy is a guide in waging war against corruption, and it is a fight that must win as a nation. He said the National Anti-Corruption Strategy aims at attacking corruption as well as meeting local and international benchmarks in the fight against corruption. For Star News in Freetown, I am Fatmata Jembe reporting.
Many thanks for that comprehensive report. You're still watching the Star Good Morning Show here on Star Television Network on Channel 21. With us in the studio still is Lamrana Ba, as he's here to talk about some issues that have to do with governance. He's a member of the Strategic Communication Unit, Ministry of Information and Communications. Welcome again, Lamrana.
It's a pleasure.
Yesterday, the Minister of Finance played host in the weekly press conference that usually held at the Minister of Information Conference Hall. Let's start off by having some insight about what the minister said before going into some other issues.
Thank you very much. And of course, you and I, are aware of the fact that this government came into office in the April 2018, and 1 year, 5 months on, we have, as a government, succeeded in actually, scoring big points in other sectors. But one sector that, remains a challenge for us is the economy. So, and we are actually not oblivious of that particular fact. And of course, we are fully aware of the fact that the economy is really a challenge, but it's not as a result of our own making. In as much we don't want to actually predicate our focus on the blame game and all of that. We are actually laying the building blocks, understand, a very solid foundation for a sustainable and a more robust economy in the years to come. So one thing that of course, if you listen to him yesterday, he was very, very passionate about the issue that has to do with the economy. And of course, he appealed for patience, he appeals for calm, and of course, he appeals to actually the ordinary citizens for them to show understanding of the government at these trying times. Now, if you look at the indicators, that's actually the variables that has to do with that have to do with with the economy, you will come to the realization that it is very, very much difficult for us at this particular moment to ensure that we are, first of all, we're able to reduce the dollar rate and of course also stimulate the economy. Because if you look at the performance indicators, in the market, they're not there at the moment. Understand? We are not exporting. Mining has been the only sector that we've been exporting from out of the country to ensure that we bring in raw forex. That has not been going on for the last 6 months. Understand? So we have reviewed most of these mining license agreements with most of these companies because we found out that most of them are actually making more profit at the expense of the government and the people of Sierra Leone. So we are reviewing those processes. And of course, you could also recall that when we actually took over, the president made several, visits, travels abroad. He took advantage of every platform available at international stage. We have multi-million dollar, investors are seated, listen to him, and of course he built a very solid case for Sierra Leone. And of course, if you also look at our, performance in the area of fighting corruption, it's unprecedented. We have exhibited huge amounts of commitment in the area of fighting corruption. So all of these are indicators that moving forward, we first of all, an investor will not come to Sierra Leone without having the assurance that his investment is going to be safe, without having the assurance that there will be a conducive atmosphere where there will be no corruption, where they will have a safe haven for them to come and invest. So all of these things are ongoing at the moment. A lot of investors have expressed interest in diverse sectors within the county to come and invest. We're actually looking forward to that. Negotiations are ongoing at the moment. And of course also the mining sector. That is the reason why we actually don't want to focus our attention to going into quick fix, because those short-term measures are not sustainable. You understand? That is what has been going on in the past. You understand? In 2014 and 15, Sierra Leone was the fastest growing economy. We had the iron ore, we have the London Mining, Africa Minerals, and all of these companies were here in county operating. They created jobs, and of course they injected raw forex into the economy, and of course there was stability at some point. Our digits reduced to 1 digit instead of 2. So all of these things were there, but what happened by then was the fact that those that were in charge were unable to prepare for unforeseen circumstances. So no sooner we had the reduction of price on iron ore globally, and of course the Ebola, so everything went berserk. You understand? We reduced back. So that was why we had austerity measures and all of these things. You understand? So we want to ensure as a government that we actually focus our attention on laying the building blocks for a sustainable and a solid economy moving forward as a nation, because that is the only thing. So for now, we have also focused our attention to provide alternative for the people of this country. So that is the reason why in the midst of all of these economic challenges, understand, we have been able to ensure that we roll out prudent fiscal management policies to ensure that our revenue generation drive is increased. That is unprecedented. We have collected revenue more than any other government in the history of this country so far. That is the reason why we have been able to allocate 21% of the budget to roll out free education in this country. And of course, that is the reason why we have been able to provide more scholarship. We have increased on the quota of scholarship to people. That is the reason why we have been able to actually dole out funds to local councils to carry out their activities on a monthly basis. That is why we have been able to pay salaries, which is very critical, on timely basis. Understand? We have also approved 5,000 teachers, on the payroll. We have also recruited 3,000 nurses, 1,000 police officers. All of these things we have been able to do. The 50 buses. You understand? Now, if you are a single payer, then you have 3 kids. You understand? Let's say you are paying 200,000. Then you are paying 6,000 per child for transportation per day. You do the mathematics and do the calculations. Understand? At the end of the day, you realize that most of this economic burden the government, has taken over, is as a result of providing alternative for the parents, and of course ensure
Elba,
that there's a livelihood until such a time when
those prudent measures you've said. Now, quoting the minister yesterday, said he has assured that the economic recovery after prudent financial measures were instituted to control the inflow that will largely address the spiral inflationary situation in the country. Are those prudent measures you've just mentioned could be considered as a benchmark for us to succeed in actually raising our economical status to the beam at which we want it? Because now let's consider bread and butter issue.
Fine.
It has to do with the layman down there, how much they buy stock.
No.
And it's not about. It's about, yes, it's important to refer it to those that actually have scholarships and all. But it has to do with the bread and butter issue.
The bread and butter issue, simply put, is job. When once there are jobs, you understand, the issue of bread and butter will be settled. Because at the end of the day, if you are, for instance, like the Premier League,
So
I'm coming.
do we have adequate jobs in
No,
our
I'm coming.
country?
That is also a challenge. I cannot say, but we have tried in providing jobs. You understand, and we are actually in to ensure that we create an enabling partnership with the private sector to create more jobs. Because for us in Sierra Leone, government is the largest employer.
Yeah.
You understand, which in other countries is not the case. In other countries, the private sector is well capacitated, and they are the largest employer other than the government. You understand? For instance, like the Premier League board, government gave 350 billion news. And of course, during that period, the Premier League season, you find out that a lot of players, their bread and butter issue was addressed because they were receiving salaries at the end of the day. Even those that were selling cold water around the gates, they were, business was going on for them. Those that are using Okada, for their livelihood, taxi drivers, all of these things. So these are the things we want to focus on. You understand? Now, we are also focused on diversifying the economy. Now, there's no way. Let me tell you this.
That seems to be another problem.
Fine, that is it. Because for now, the only means of us generating revenue is through taxation. You understand? So we want to diversify. And if you look at the fishery sector, for instance, the marine sector in 2018 was the third largest sector that contributed to the revenue development fund. You understand? For generated revenue for government. So we have put in place measures. Of course, you just shed light on a story that has to do with the marine sector, where we had Chinese that came in to actually help us, help us with capacity building, how we should be able to man, our waters to protect our fish, in the waters. Understand? So all these are measures being put in place. You look at tourism, for instance. Tourism also is another sector we are hoping to diversify. And moving forward, not too far from now, you will start to see influx of tourists who will be coming in with raw cash.
But talking of taxation, we've seen the high increase of tax in recent times, and that has led to the liquidation of most companies. For example, Sierra Leone Bottling Company, they are not operating in the country.
Listen, this government has not increased any tax so far. The tax we are actually asking or levying on business people or those that are importers and all of that is the same tax the previous government used to do, because have you seen the 2016 Finance Act?
Yes.
It was passed in Parliament in 2016.
So
that
what
is
has
the act
led to the liquidation of most companies in the era of the FC?
But the Sierra Leone company
governance
is still operating.
No.
You understand? Like for instance, if you want to reference the mining sectors, you understand? The mining sector, most of them collapsed before 2018. 2018, for instance, London Mining was not there anymore. You understand? Shandong took over. They did not start operations until 2018 election, and until now they have not started. They sold it out to Timmins Mining Company, and of course Timmins Mining Company also does not want to conform with certain clauses in the mining agreement. So the Minister of Mines had to suspend their operations because they are wanted to actually export, a huge, chunk of iron ore that was there that they met, you understand, without going through through the due processes, you understand. So that's the reason why their licenses their operations were suspended until and unless there's a clear roadmap between them and the Ministry of Mines. So to say companies are falling down, that is actually not the case, because I'm not aware of anyone. Or also in the area of taxation, the reason why I said we have increased on our revenue mobilization or generation is the fact that, one, we heeded to the advice of the International Monetary Fund, IMF, for us to establish a single treasury account. And that has helped us greatly, you understand, to actually monitor and streamline everything now is going into one basket. Assuming if the reason why people were shouting corruption is because, most of these sectors had their own private accounts, and of course, they will just give what they want to give to government. So, but for us, we think that is not the right way to go. We are now streamlining every single cent collected into one basket, so we'll be able to roll out developmental activities for the people of this country. So the issue of the bread and butter issue.
It was no secret, Elba, that it was a right step to have a single treasury account, and as well blocking leakages and wastages, which many people describe that past governments were using that to enrich themselves. But again, could this be seen as shock to this government to have implement all those strategies, single treasury accounts, blocking leakages, and now going back to step one, where our economy is seen as not stable?
No,
is this coming as shock to the
government? No. Actually, moving forward,
so
we are on the right.
Expecting this?
No. Listen, we expected that it's gonna be easy. Okay. You understand? While in opposition, we studied the situation. We promised the people new direction. They voted for us, and we promised to ensure that we transform this country for the better. And that is exactly what we are working towards. You understand? That is exactly why we have taken off a lot of economic burden, on the parents. You understand? because we want to ensure that revenues collected are for Sierra Leoneans, not for few individuals. Our commitment to fighting corruption is unprecedented. Now, on the area of the economy, this it does not come to us as a shock anymore, you understand? The reason being, there are indicators. The leones is not appreciated outside Sierra Leone, you understand? And now, in country, we are not having, foreign investors that are coming in with the raw dollar at the moment, you understand? We are not having that going on. We are not exporting anything at the moment, you understand? That also attracts forex to come into Sierra Leone. That is not happening at the moment. So we expect this short movement, you understand, to have these economic challenges. Now, no sooner we start exporting, you understand? No sooner we start, having investors coming in, the tourism sector booming, you understand? And mind you, we have mobile companies. By law, it is permissible for them by law to actually expatriate their profits, outside this country, and they cannot expatriate loans. So when once they want to expatriate their expropriate their profit, they go into the market and banks and buy the dollar. So no sooner when these activities keep going on, you understand, you find challenges with dollar. And we also have importers. When they are going to buy, they go there to buy with dollar, not loans. They understand. So if you don't have enough forex in the market, it's a challenge. It's an economic challenge. These are the indicators. There's no magic about that. So for us to ensure that the dollar is reduced, and of course economic activities are ongoing well, we have to increase on our exportation. We have to ensure that we attract direct foreign investment. We have to ensure that we have tourism coming in country to ensure that they boost on our economy. Now, in 2000, when the president visited the World Bank was so impressed with our fiscal management policies in country, and they were able to approve for us $25 million. That is not a loan, it's a grant. And later this year, that money will come in. We have to inject it into the economy. And it's going to come in raw. Raw forex is going to come in. So moving forward, and one thing again we want to assure listeners and our people is that for us as a government, the people matter most, you understand? So what we are focusing on is for us to actually ensure that we don't want to rush into most of these mining companies because of the few jobs they are creating, and extort a lot of money that the people of this country should benefit from and go with it, you understand? So that's why we want to revisit, and of course if we are necessary, terminate contract of most of these mining companies that are not in conformity with their mining agreement.
As we've seen a recent termination.
Exactly, that is it. Because let me tell you, you understand, some people will not want to say this, but it's the fact. If it were in the past, you understand, or what used to obtain, the mining companies think that what used to obtain in the past probably will have to continue. Most of these guys would have actually called the minister or a few other people around to tip them and say, okay, now these are. So if they were shellfish, you understand, they would have collected any amount because we know them, you understand. But the minister said, you need to come to the table and you need to do ABC. They just interpret some sections of the agreement and forget about other sections which has to do with their compliance and for Sierra Leoneans to benefit. For instance, they were supposed to declare how much they are selling the iron ore, and of course if they declare that is when the Ministry of Mines will have to calculate and determine how much Sierra Leone should get from those exports, you understand? And they were not doing that. You understand? And from 2015 to 2017, Sierra Leone supposed to have benefited 24 million United States dollars, other than then just paying $400,000. So the minister said, no, we are not going to continue with this. You understand? We need to revisit this mining agreement and ensure that you're in compliance with this mining agreement. So that is it. So we are doing this in the interest of people. We know it's going to be difficult a bit, but we want to crave in the indulgences of Sierra Leoneans, whether it be APC, be SLPP, be NGC. The government is for everybody, you understand? And once there is economic crisis, it's not there for only APC or SLPP or NGC, for everybody also. Okay. So we crave in the indulgences of Sierra Leoneans to actually bear with us. These are trying times for us, we know, but we have made significant inroads into other sectors, you understand?
I'll have to leave there. When I come back to you, we'll have to discuss more about the expectations of more coming into our country. As we've said, we need more communities in our country in order to stabilize our economy. We go for another insert. This edition of Good Morning Show. A group of Agriv residents at 67 Freetown, Lumley Road, has called on the intervention of President Julius Maada Bio to settle what it described as utter injustice meted out by a court decision taken by Magistrate Santigi Bangura in favor of one Adam Maki, over a parcel of land for which they are the rightful claimants of the said parcel of land. Our reporter Elton John spoke to them. These were their grievances.
Well, I think also surprisingly, we see one crown officer from Lomé police station come with a group of men them and other group of police them. They come, they can't team up now, they count convoy. Then from there, they say, Mama, I team up side by me so. They call me, not me, they say, Musa Gap, I see police and in at front door. As I open the door, Mr. Moana, they pass instructions saying that the landlord is going to arrest them directly in the police station. So you can go directly and it's heavy beats and violence. You can go looking at the truck, put me in the police. I did it for.
What I get this source and when this incident be?
And Saturday this thing happened around 7 to 8. Around 10 to 11.
Okay, so what I get this source? Tell me more about this source.
This particular was now chief imam this woman they call Abdul for Mauna Midali. I get this property. I get this property.
Okay.
And he get this property from 1938. We built this particular force house now 1940. It's a no born itself, but according to the document we get, from 1938 he acquired this property.
When I get the document?
Yeah, we get the document with me.
So how comes now the Gambo this house? So now we go court, so now we go police?
Yeah, well, we did one at one time we see 2015 where one Lebanese man can give me paper, serve me paper from court, say directly, I get this property, we are in a Maki compound. I said, no, we don't have property in a Maki compound. I said, in a Midadi compound, we're 67 feet out long. So by then, he say no, I'm a compound and property,
They be shown a paper?
No, they never show paper.
Okay.
Only the court people will come for invite me to court. So they can go to court, then for me, court will get for asking me, sir, I said this is 7 feet out. So they get for ask me if I get document for Usadi. I say yes, I get documents. They ask me, Mr. Maki, which are you doing? Saying yes, now Maki compound spoiled, now they in property. Then the court magistrate be get for give instructions.
What that be the magistrate?
The magistrate Bangu and I be the magistrate in court.
Okay.
Then he passed order directly. So well, now when I get document for the property, they will not claim. When I tender with document, it. So we tender with documents them. Then at the end, they send call the registry team. They can read them documents. Then read the own as Maki compound and spoiled. Then they read my own property as 67 feet and normally. So on that, the magistrate they say, well, now 2 different properties on the fed for sure. They say you don't get access, you don't get right for defense for judge this case now low courts. But you get right for judge this case now low courts due to the title deeds and the document they will tender to the courts, they judge the case to then document the deed. So in that regard, they end up for passing judgment, say you were the fed for Maki compound spoil. Go as spoil, go take Maki compound spoil. But the conclusion of in statement, it will end up for make them they directly say, but this order does not apply to any other property which does not fall within Maki compound spoil. So like then began the judgment began in favor of for a specific area when a Maki compound spoil. So to be surprised now 2019 when we see this man couch group of police.
What are this man?
This is Mr. Maki.
Okay.
Couch come
What's that in there?
Well, we don't know your address really. Oh no, we don't really know your address.
You never see her with your eye?
Well, I only see her with me eye when directly me attend court 2015 to 2017.
Okay.
From then me you don't ever see him. Now only at one time I didn't have Mr. Muana when I one crown car with 14 police then 14 policemen then directly say him the tenant they will then at this compound and one for let the all come on at this compound.
How much people let me live here?
Well, I get me total size now 256 people that live in this compound.
Okay.
And the total rooms in 103 rooms within this particular compound. Now in there, then we will get this property, we the administer it, we get this property, where they carry the name, the surname of this property. Now with 56 then at this property, we have the great Gampikine and the Gampikine, and we were with the born and the wife and other extended family.
So now where this situation on beat on a homeless, what do you expect from the government?
Well, we expect proper government for let look into the case very serious because now this is not happening. We need justice. We not get not time for leave. Now the man can do this. He use the influence and make him post. He say the government then in pocket. And by then when they don't make this, so we don't get homeless and we not get for greed. We not ever get for greed. We ready for take the last bill to any other can use. Now die we ready for die. We not go agree this one and next one. So we only look up to government first. Let we not believe the peace. Waiting don't happen. So let us see waiting government and human rights activists. Then can able do for at least they able resolve the problem back. Now we restore back our property. I be better than give property back. We need justice from the government. And we ask the president for let look into this case. Because then they mention names there and the counts names there. They mention then they go to who was directly. So person handle it. So person handle it. But that's also what they look at too. Because we know say this na private property.
It's Fatima Bioga influence.
They use all the imax and they for at least them panic the situation. For at least no problem. And the so-called evidence, the so-called man will be there, will be the claim. When I be there, the can enter now, we claim saying that the property caretaker. In Pekin there, this company propaganda, the first lady in name, that directly first lady in Andensa, in fact, this property na first lady. Now he empower the people there for this. Now say we not get that from first lady. We not get this other. We not get this from first lady. And from what this happen, we never see first lady in picture about this issue. But it's not boldly enough before people them publicly. Now first lady, and in fact, in empowerment, make people can do
so. So Urana Ben Kelfala na this issue. Urana Ben Kelfala na this issue.
Ben Kelfala na be the lawyer for this Libanese Mawina Maki, and I start up this case up to 1 year and some months. Then at the end of the day, you go do studies when he left somebody way in the chamber called Kane. We left Kane, we Kane and take up this case. And at the end of the day, you know say directly Ben Kalfela always say the because in a bit even if one gets up to this, any other person Kalfela chamber, na in the quarter before they get to this
when they punish them. So who are going so they say you need freedom and justice. So Sarah Leone need justice on this case.
When people in shop when they sell property, when they can put the property when they pass away. The worst of it, the most serious part, yesterday when rain come, we don't ever get way out. Some of us map under the rain, all of the legs. And at the part where police were like, over 78 years, every daddy they together because they died.
When they gonna go to the wet man, you know they go, he say they show him money. Now lawyer now they give money. You know they show him. Now we know now we the man. You know they show him. He witnessed the way they say no go to time not for let them be na. They beat me today, naked with me picking them. And me picking them, me grand picking them, me picking them, they go school. Nothing another to see the go for our business. Let me out. Nothing another. Nothing another. They go call them policeman there.
Die with the age of 108 years.
They 15 at the enter.
And then tell them more friends are lonely.
And the most job they say the court there and them pocket. So we want let the government help we. But let it to be.
So-called man will get this property. They don't there for now. Man die with the age of 108 years. Now he old enough to die. Then from there. They don't really central most of the time. Where people are just 8 years. So like they have friends there because of them get money. Then they can convince the law, the judiciary, and convince other people. But we they look out say directly. The man where they directly in this particular leader as leader of this government can for set a precedent where I believe say another for support that most on this. And we really call them
justice. And we always suffer.
Many thanks to Hilton John for that comprehensive report. It's really heartrending for such situation. The time is 9:49 in our studios, and you're still watching the Star Good Morning Show here on Star Television Network on channel 21. We still have in the studios Elba, a member of the Strategic Communication Units at the Ministry of Communications. Elba, you've seen that insert. Just imagine someone going through that and still not have food to eat. And with such things happening, one might tend to think, where are we heading as a nation?
Well, I don't actually want to, share an opinion on that because I'm not too, familiar with the details. Because for as long as it has to do with the court, and of course it's a court order. So I think it will be best for us to have probably the PRO for the court, to come and justify why, such notice was given. But yes, indeed, it's heartrending, especially for those that are affected now. But one would want to actually give an opinion on that because I'm actually not aware what the details are regarding that. But it's all boiled down to the issue of it's also important for people, to, have legal document for their properties, where they reside and all of that. You understand? At the end of the day, the law doesn't want to know really, whether, you are affected or not, but, what is presented before them. But I don't want to actually go into the intricacies about what happened, you understand? Maybe the court will be better to justify their actions.
So now moving along and wrapping up this about economy. Now, well, you've confirmed that yes, you were not expecting this, even though it's no more a shock to you. Now, we've seen before SRP came into power, we saw that they were bashing on the past government, that they had ransacked the economy and they have the potential to change the economy. And now we've seen a lot of things happening the other way around.
But you see,
So do you think there are square pegs in round holes managing the affairs of the finance of the states?
No, not really. That is not the case. You see, I have been very, very much careful not to actually, focus on the blame game. You understand? But there is no way, you understand, Star TV will be like this today now. Will stand on its own, with a very weak foundation. You understand? We inherited an economy, a moribund economy, an economy that was, on a life support machine.
And the party was very optimistic
of
changing the economy so soon.
Not so soon. Nobody said so soon.
So the question now is,
you cannot fix the economy so soon.
So now the question is, do you think there are square pegs in round holes managing the affairs of the finance?
I'm coming. No, listen, there are no square pegs. If that would have been the case, we would not have been able to actually run the state as it is, because we inherited nothing absolutely. Okay. It's as a result of our own measures, and especially internal structures. But measures.
You mentioned internal that 2015-16, Sierra Leone was mentioned as fastest growing economy.
Why 2016-17 the previous government announced austerity? Why were they paying salaries based on overdraft? You understand? These are the challenges. And if you are following the Commission of Inquiry now, you found out that you listen and hear startling revelations, where people were giving orders from the above to actually dole out contracts were inflated above 200%, which is unprecedented globally. I have never heard about that. You understand? From 7 to 17 $million for the construction of the NatCom building at Hill Station, and all of these startling revelations are coming up. Assuming, you understand, all of this, look at the monies being recovered so far. These people were not taken to court. These people were, go to the ACC and said, okay, we don't want to go to court, but we want to get out of court settlement. You understand? And they paid back. It amounts to 16 billion. All of this amount, if they were there, you understand, we would not have been struggling now. But again, that's why I said we don't want to focus our attention on the blame game. Okay. Now the Commission of Inquiry is there. We rest assured, members of the public, that whosoever that was giving money to actually undertake any activity and embezzle that particular money, and that most of those monies goes into bottomless pockets of public officials. Okay. We are going to investigate them, and most of them, the corporates will be brought to book, and if need be, we will retrieve those funds from them, or the necessary actions will be taken against them. But in the midst of that, we don't want to sit back and say we want to wait for that. You understand? That's why we are instituting other measures. Now, if you moving forward, like I said, we are laying the building blocks. You understand? A very solid one. A one that is corrupt-free. A one where nobody will come and ask you for percentages before contract will be awarded. A one in which foreign investors will not be scared away based on harassment, and all of that. They will have the free will to operate in country. Then we are focusing now on diversification. Moving forward, we are focusing on 3 sectors. 1, the agricultural sector. 2, the fishery sector. And 3, the tourism sector. And we have laid solid building blocks in those areas. We are focusing, not like before now, when the Minister of Agriculture will go to, for instance, a particular village and give 10 bushels of rice to farmers and say, farm. That is not sustainable. We are ensuring that we want to bring in experts. You understand, that will come here, have a commercial, center in where they will be operating back home, support these farmers, and in turn, when these farmers cultivate their product, they will now sell it to these companies in country, and they will distribute it to our markets, which is sustainable. You understand? So these are our long-term measures we are focusing on, but we also need to focus on infrastructure. For instance, if somebody now needs to go to Tomabom, for instance, the road leading to Tomabom is actually not that great. Government is focusing on constructing that particular road. So all of this infrastructural setup we have to put in place for us to ensure that, 1, it is conducive for them to come and operate. It will not cost them more, especially running costs. We have to ensure that there's enough and quality electricity, you understand? And of course, the infrastructure should be there. So all of these things are the building blocks we are laying for a sustainable means of us. For instance, government is paying, subsidizing $2 million annually on rice subsidy. Assuming if we are able to produce rice in country and save that particular $2 million, how many other amenities will be taken care of in terms of service delivery?
So, Elba,
so all of these things are long. Exactly. So the short-term measures. So short-term measures,
because you cannot plant rice today and expect it to
exactly.
go tomorrow. It cannot go within the next 3 months.
So that's why we first of all.
So what are the short-term measures?
That is exactly why.
Dollar is almost 1 million. Slightly up.
No,
what are the short-term?
Yesterday it's 9 something.
9 something. So what are the short-term measures?
That is the reason why, as a government, when we took over, we saw the suffering. That's why, you understand.
And it's still ongoing.
No, I'm coming. That's why we ensured that we take some amount of economic burden from the parent. You understand? That is another measure. My brother, most people are downplaying the fact that, you know, the school fees and of course the transportation we have eased from the parents are nothing. But if you accumulate those monies, at the end of the day, let's say 6,000 per child, times 1 week, times 1 month. You understand? As a parent, a single parent, it's huge amount. Government has taken that off. The school fees, government has taken that off. You understand? And all of this granting aid, you understand? It's very, very important.
But
and look at our
bus.
No, I'm coming. No, the buses are there.
Yeah.
You understand? They are packed because schools are closed now.
Yeah.
You understand? So no sooner by next month, you understand, we'll officially distribute them across the county. And Ministry of Transport will actually roll out, you know, the terms and conditions hovering around the usage of those buses, not too far from now. So we are appealing to the people. You understand? We know that yes, indeed, things are really not that great for us as a county, but let them understand that this is a 1 year, 4-month-old government, understand? And we have done so much in 1 year. We have actually ensured that we continue with uninterrupted electricity supply. We are paying salaries. We have ensured that we have given them free education or every kids in this county. And of course, we have embarked on road traffic. Another thing again I want to mention, you understand? People are forgetting to understand is that 35% of this revenue we are collecting now goes into servicing local debt. We inherited. We don't have our option because we are a government and government is continuity. And most of these debts were actually bad contract. We are actually bad contract. But because of the significance of the roads they are constructing, we will not just we will continue to service them until the roads are complete. For instance, all the roads are in Bo. You cannot discontinue now the Kiama road, for instance. You understand? It's very significant. So most of these contracts we inherited, we have 35%, which is huge. And look at our efforts also to pay the monthly cleaning exercise and the dividend that has yielded in mitigating the issue of flooding in Freetown, for instance. You understand? So all of these areas are areas we are spending monies on. People don't care about that. You understand? So that's why we are continuing to appeal to people to show understanding with the government. We are just 1 year, 4 months old. We have exhibited huge commitment in ensuring that we manage the affairs of the state prudently, especially financial wise. Okay. That is what the president is focusing on. That's why
we'll have to talk about
has the free will.
Yes.
To go after anybody, you understand?
So we'll have to talk about, we know what the commission has been doing for the past months or for the past year since you came into power. We'll have to talk about the flooding, but let me just draw your mind to press release that came out about a few weeks or days ago that stated that Olympians traveling a band or they should go through the president. What is the rationale behind that?
Yeah, what precipitated that is the fact that it all exhibits government commitment in ensuring we control our expenditure. You understand? Because we will not shy away. Certain ministers we are traveling that most of their travelings were not actually necessary, especially for an economy, a crippling economy. So because the president is very committed in ensuring that we control expenditure, like he promised during the campaigns, understand, blocking leakages and stopping unnecessary expenditure. That is the reason why now only statutory travels are allowed, and that has to be sanctioned by the president. Okay. You understand? So that is the rationale behind it, to control financial expenditure. And mind you, if we can do that in 1 year in office, we will do it continuously.
Another school of thought may say people should live by example.
People should live by example. Yes, for the president, you understand, that is an unprecedented decision. For you to say, okay, now, because ministers are to travel really, but based on statutory provision. If you are going to represent your ministry that is statutory, you go through the president, and president is aware of it, and president approves it, you go. But, you cannot just sit in your office and say, okay, I have seen 2 days participation program that concerns my ministry. Let me go there
So
for
has
per
that
diem
been
and all that.
happening in this government?
No, we are saying, you understand, whosoever now that wants to travel has to be
But
statutory.
has it been happening since he came into power?
Well-
Because there must have been reason for this.
Well, the problem, we cannot shy away from that. Yeah, to a very large extent, you understand, ministers have been traveling, so the president looked into the travel, their travels, you understand, and said, no, okay, now anybody that wants to travel will have to actually, go through me first. That is statutory. That is the only sanctioned, travels now for ministers. And it also boils down to the fact that we are committed to ensure we control expenditure. Because if we increase on expenditure and our revenue generation is not at par with our expenditure, we always have deficit in between. So that is all that is geared towards us ensuring that we actually put expenditure and revenue generation at par. That is the only way we'll be able to actually maintain our economy.
Okay, Elba time is out now. Very shortly, as short as possible. As a citizen of this country, not in the capacity of member of strategic communication, do you feel satisfied with the current state of our country?
Sure, I'm very satisfied, though there are challenges. You understand? But the indicators...
Is that response genuine?
Yeah, sure, the indicators are there. You understand? Moving forward, you see, Rome must not be a day.
Okay.
Even President, let me just even
On that
President
note,
Obama,
we'll
even
have to
President
suspend
Obama,
this discussion
when
for
he
another
took
day.
over in
Elba,
2008,
because
there
time
was
is
this
out now.
optimism, but he was unable to transform the economy because of the challenges he
Okay,
inherited.
okay, so I'll have to leave
So
there.
finally, I just want to continue to appeal to my people, be you APC, be you SLPP, the government is for everybody.
Okay.
It is our responsibility to cater for every citizen, to
Okay.
ensure that every citizen's welfare is taken care of.
Okay.
You understand? So let us don't politicize national issues because we want to look, paint this government bad.
Okay,
Please.
So many thanks to you, Elba. He said he's satisfied with the current state of the country. This is the Star Good Morning Show. This is all we have time for in today's edition. I have been a presenter, Hassan Kurma. Stay tuned to this television station, and the repeat broadcast comes up at exactly 7 p.m. Until another day, have a blissful weekend ahead.